Today we're going to learn what it means to be out of position, how to avoid it, and how to take advantage of it for when you fight. Being out of position means that you are not in a stance where you could generate or absorb force. It means that you're giving your opponent the green light to attack you. Now, if your opponent is out of position, you have the green light to attack them, but you must do it with caution. Even an out of position opponent can hurt you, even if it's less likely or more challenging for them to do so. Especially as a small pressure fighter, I spend a lot of time using my footwork, my ring positioning, and my feints to try to outposition my opponent. If I can get my opponent to break their posture, gather their feet, or look away, then that gives me permission to move in and to try to attack. It gives me a bridge to move in on what is usually a taller opponent looking to keep me at range or looking to counter me. If you watch professional fighting, especially when they have 12 rounds to work, you'll frequently see professionals spend the first round or two feinting at each other, moving their feet, circling around the ring, and looking dangerous in the hopes that they can find a gap in their opponent's defenses or position that will allow them an opportunity to attack. How do you identify an out-of-position fighter? Following, we have a non-comprehensive list of moments where a fighter is not in a good position to generate or absorb force. We're beginning with sitting on the ropes. My old coach up in Ontario, Canada, used to tell me in a super silly way that when you hit the ropes, you only ever get one butt cheek on the ropes. And what he meant by that was you need to maintain a strong boxing stance even when you hit the ropes. If you put both butt cheeks or lean into and square up on the ropes, you leave yourself in a position where you can't move easily and you can't punch with proper mechanics. If your feet are crossed, you're out of position. I know that my first boxing coach told me if you can see your opponent's rear foot behind the heel of their lead foot, then you can hit them with a right hand. And that's been proven true over and over and over again in the last 15 years of me competing. If your weight is on your heels, you are out of position, and it will be very, very hard for you to maintain your balance if somebody attacks your open side. If you are on one foot, you cannot easily move forward, backward, left, or right, nor are you in a position to absorb force or generate power off of the far side foot. If your feet are stacked or in alignment and two-bladed, when somebody presses their advantage, your feet are going to get gathered and you will have to yield ground. You also cheat yourself out of the ability to throw your rear hand because your lead leg is blocking the follow-through of your rear hip. If you are too square, your center line is exposed, you can't effectively move forward and backward, and people will easily push you over your heels. If you are airborne, you have no contact with the ground, no way to absorb force, and nothing to lever against to generate power. If your feet gather, there is no way for you to absorb force or maintain your balance when anybody attacks you. If you are looking down or hinging at the hips, firstly, you can't see any punches coming. Secondly, you can't use your hips and your legs to absorb force. And thirdly, you can't rotate your hips and transfer that power to your upper body to punch powerfully. If you are turning away from an opponent, you can't see shots coming and you're exposing your center line on the side you are turning towards. If your hips and shoulders are not in proper alignment, you are exposing body for attack as well as cheating yourself out of timing your hips and your shoulders for a powerful counter punch. If your eyes are closed, you are extremely vulnerable to an opponent who punches in combination, as you'll not be able to see those shots coming and react to them. If you cover your eyes with your guard, then you can't see shots coming around your guard or to your body, and you can't see the movements of your opponent. My first boxing coach told me, if you're fighting a fair fight, you're fighting the wrong fight. And that wasn't him advocating for cheating. He was saying that if you are not constantly hunting for an advantage, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Keep in mind everything that we've talked about in today's lesson, and it'll prepare you for the moments to attack for when you fight.